You just had to watch someone you love sacrifice themselves for you. Now you get ready for another game where you hope that sacrifice was not in vain. This is round 5 of the Squid Game. Hi guys, welcome back or welcome to Dreamworks Switch to Life. And in today's video, we are continuing my Dreamworks Squid Game series. If you haven't seen the first 5 videos, or if you just want a refresher, be sure to check out the playlist down below in the description. But now, we started this series with 520 characters, and we only have 37 remaining, and 2 games left to go. And I'm sorry that this video took so long to make. I know I promised it would come out in May, but this is a very hard game. In fact, I'm pretty sure that this video will get backlash just because of how I handle it. So without further ado, let's dive into the rules. The players are brought to a room with 37 numbered vests, and they are told that the number of vests they have will determine the order that they will play the game. Of course, since they don't know what the game is going to be, all they know is that they either want to go first, or they want to go last, or they want to play it safe and go for the middle. So without further ado, let's dive into the order. First, we have General W.R. Monger. He will be followed by Tai Lung, the Chameleon, Diane Foxington, Astrid Ruffnut Errett, Zekel Khan, LaFrog, Megamind, Poe, Dawn, Krell Terran, Sinbad, Rat, Zipporah, Rosamunits, Joseph, Zhen, Tigress, Mantis, Little Creek, Claire Nunez, Police Constable Mukherjee, Classified, Guy, Mona Lisa, Roxanne Ritchie, Susan Murphy, aka Ginormica, Mr. Peabody, the Colonel from Spirit Stallion of the Cimarron, Agatha Gilman, Barbara Lake, Blinkus Galadrigal, RJ, and Music Man. Now, I do need to make a brief mention. In my previous video, I said that Barbara Lake would die because Strickler wouldn't sacrifice himself to save her. But, you know, after thinking about it, I realized I was very, very wrong. So, Strickler sacrificed himself to save Barbara. That's just an edit that I want to point out. And so, for those of you who were hoping Strickler would be in this video, he's not. Barbara is. And now, once the numbers are decided, the players will then be taken to a brand new room where there are 2 rows of glass tiles. Yes, the game is Glass Stepping Stones, or Glass Bridge. For this game, players must cross the glass bridge in 20 minutes, but keep in mind there are 100 glass tiles, 50 on each row. Half of them are tempered glass and can support the weight of 2 people. But the other half is untempered and will break under the weight of a tiny mantis. The 2 glass types are spread randomly between the rows, and you must guess which will support you and which will break. Flying will not be permitted. You have 20 minutes to cross this bridge. Begin. Yeah, you can see why this is hard, because it's sheer luck. The chance that you make it blindly is 1 out of 1,125,829,906,842,624. And unless you're a glassworker, you'll never be able to tell the difference. Even then, it's not guaranteed. Because this game is sheer luck, many of the people in line will be panicking, causing the line to stall. They have 20 minutes to get across 50 tiles. Sounds easy, right? But no. With everybody hesitating because they're nervous, it's going to take forever. And as we saw in the Squid Game show, some people will even try to shove others in front of them or force people behind them to go first. This is why it took so long for me to make this, because figuring out who would live and who would die is nearly impossible. Now, here's the thing. My goal is to get to the end of this video with 6 characters in the character count. In the original Squid Game, we had 16 players with 3 surviving. Well, we have over double that number, so it feels good to double that number as well. So yeah, honestly, the only real strategy that you can have is by going with one of the later numbers. If you're among the first group, you are definitely dead. But if you have a later number, you have a chance of surviving because everybody else will die ahead of you. Unlike in the original, however, going last will not be an automatic qualification. I want there to be some consequence for time running out. So, here we go. First, we have General Munger, and the reason he chose to go first is because he kind of likes to blaze ahead and make a statement for himself. And while he does have some creative plans, I don't think he's going to be able to make one here on the fly. So unfortunately, he might be able to make 1 or 2 tiles, but he'll die by the 3rd. Next, we have Tai Lung, who, yeah, he wants to be the Dragon Warrior, so I felt like he would probably want to be among the first people to finish the game, and that's going to be his death sentence. Then we have the Chameleon from Kung Fu Panda, and honestly, I'm thinking maybe she could just shapeshift into a small bug, something that would very easily be able to jump between the glass tiles, or maybe even just fly around. However, the second that she gets to the other side, death will be waiting to kill her because she cheated by flying. And of course, changing your weight so that even if you step on a wrong tile, it doesn't break. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that's cheating too. So the Chameleon dies. Next, we have Diane Foxington from The Bad Guys, and unfortunately, she dies as well. We also have the How to Train Your Dragon characters, including Astrid, Ruffnut, and Eret, son of Eret, all of whom would be among the first group, and unfortunately, because of that, die. Next, we have Zeko Khan, a man who doesn't really have any fear unless he's suffering the wrath of God. So he would probably be among one of the people to pick the first number, and unfortunately, that would be his downfall. He might try to use his blood magic to save himself in some way, but I just can't think of a way that would work, so he dies. Next, we have Le Frog, and you might be thinking that a tiny frog wouldn't be able to break the glass tile, but like I said, the tiles can break under the weight of a mantis. So with that in mind, Le Frog would probably be able to jump very easily between the tiles, but unfortunately, he would end up dying. Next, we have Megamind, who, being a supervillain turned superhero, is confident in his Megamind to be able to beat this game. Unfortunately, once he figures out what the game is, he'll realize that he's doomed. And unfortunately, I just don't see a way that he'll be able to actually win. So he unfortunately dies here as well. Next, we have Po from Kung Fu Panda, and being the Dragon Warrior, he will probably want to put himself in danger so that he can protect the people around him, and that means he would willingly volunteer to go first among the Kung Fu Panda group. Unfortunately, this will be his downfall, especially considering his giant weight. Next, we have Dawn from the Croods, and unfortunately, I feel like she's kind of confident enough and definitely a thrill seeker to want to be among the first people to play the game. Maybe leaning towards the middle, though. Unfortunately, I don't think she'll be able to survive. So next we move to Krell Terran. And despite the fact that Krell is an alien with a lot of ingenuity, I'm pretty certain that he wouldn't be able to tell the difference between tempered and fake glass. So unfortunately, Krell will die here. Next, we have Sinbad and Rat from Sinbad Legend of the Seven Seas. And Sinbad would probably volunteer to go first as captain, but unfortunately, that will be his downfall. And of course, Rat will follow foot, and he would end up dying as well. Next, we have Zipporah from the Prince of Egypt, and, well, you can see where this is going. Now, the next character that I really want to talk about is Rosm Unit 7134. Being a Rosm robot, she is programmed to accomplish any task whatsoever, and given all of the people who went in front of her, I think she might be able to study the difference between tempered and fake glass. So I think that she would very easily, by this point, be able to go forward and make about 5 tiles worth of distance before she would eventually die as well. Next, we have Kim Lee from Turbo, and I feel like she is a very confident woman, but once she gets to the point where she has to go and make a choice, I'm pretty sure that she's going to be filled with so much anxiety that this will be her reaction once she gets to her choice.
Oh, this is great! I'm gonna go have heart attack.
Next, we have Joseph from the King of Dreams. And, well, the thing is, Joseph has the gift of foresight. Whenever he has a dream, it's like looking into the future. And I'm pretty sure that he would have had a dream to be able to tell which tiles that he needs to remember. Problem is, since there's 50 tiles, it's going to be super hard to remember. Like, he's going to have to go left, right, left, blah, 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 blah. And eventually, he's going to mess up. So, unfortunately, he dies. Then we have Jen from Kung Fu Panda, and I feel like she would be confident enough to want to go early, but then once she figures out the game, well, she's going to be a bit anxious. And unfortunately, I think that this would be the point where she might actually panic and try to use some of the people behind her. And you're not going to guess this, but behind her happens to be Tigress. And, well, I'm pretty sure that the two would get into a fight, and unfortunately, both of them would end up dying. Then we have Mantis, who, like I said, these tiles, even though he's super small, cannot support his weight. So he might be a good jumper, but I don't think he's fast enough to be able to avoid one that's crumbling beneath him. Next, we have Little Creek from Spirit Stallion of the Cimarron. And unfortunately, I don't think he's ever seen glass in his life, so yeah, he's gonna die here. We also have Claire Nunez, who, believe it or not, would ace this challenge just like that, because she has shadow portal magic, and she could literally just portal herself from one end of the bridge to the other. It doesn't really matter where she is, I think that's gonna be her plan. Now, the rules specifically stated that flying was not allowed. That was the chameleon's downfall when she tried to shapeshift into a tiny bug that could fly. But nobody said anything about magic. So with that in mind, do you guys think that she should be allowed to continue, or should she die because she technically cheated by not crossing the bridge? Next, we have Police Constable Mukherjee. And while I do agree that Mukherjee is really good at identifying evidence, I'm pretty certain that there's no way she would be able to tell the difference between tempered and fake glass. So we say goodbye to our 25th contestant, and at this point, we've gone through 25 characters. If there is an average of one success followed by one defeat per person, then everybody else has a chance to actually make it. But I'm still going to kill a few more people. So we'll say goodbye to Classified from the Penguins of Madagascar movie. And unfortunately, I just don't really see a way that he's going to survive as well here. We also have Guy from the Croods, and unfortunately, I just don't really see him surviving as well. Next, we have Mona Lisa from Mr. Peabody and Sherman. How the heck she made it this far, I do not know. She's just extremely lucky, but this is where she's going to die. And now with only 9 characters remaining, I feel like this is a good spot to say everybody after this will actually manage to make it. First, we have Roxanne Ritchie from Megamind, and she chose the back of the line because she is a little bit hesitant, but she's also extremely smart and cunning. But then we have Susan Murphy, or Ginormica, and being an intelligent person, she'll want to study the game, so she'll lean more towards the end of the line. Mr. Peabody is also a thinker, and he'll lean more towards the end of the line because he wants to study the people. The same thing can be said about the Colonel from Spirit Stallion of the Cimarron, who I believe would actually want to study people as well. Then we have Agatha Gilman, who I'm pretty sure would just choose the back of the line out of fear. Same thing with Barbara and Blinky from Troll Hunters. Yes, while Barbara is technically a brave person when it comes to her family, she doesn't really have any family left in the game, so there's really nothing for her left to fight for. And because her friend Blinky is a bit of a coward, she will probably stick with him at the back of the line. Unfortunately, since Blinky is a giant stone troll, not really giant, just big, that means that he's super, super heavy, and I just don't really think that even a tempered glass tile can support his weight. So, unfortunately, he will die pretty early on. And because of that, everybody after him, including RJ, will not be able to jump to the next tile, and Music Man, even with his superpowers, wouldn't be able to jump. Luckily, while Music Man can just resort to flying, that would also be his death sentence. So we say goodbye to Music Man. And RJ, being a small raccoon, doesn't have any chance of jumping the space of 2 tiles. And remember what I said about how people can hesitate and that would cause the time to run out? Well, the timer runs out at 20 minutes. So unfortunately, RJ just, even though he tries, isn't able to make it. Music Man, while he manages to fly to the end, is instantly killed because he cheated. So we have our final 6, maybe 7 competitors. Roxanne Ritchie from Megamind, Susan Murphy, aka Ginormica from Monsters vs. Aliens, Mr. Peabody from Mr. Peabody and Sherman, the Colonel from Spirit Stallion of the Cimarron, Agatha Gilman from Ruby Gilman, and Barbara Lake from Troll Hunters, and also a possible 7th survivor with Claire Nunez. Yeah, remember how I said that she just teleported herself to the end using a shadow portal? Well, would that be considered cheating, or would she actually be allowed to progress to the next game? What do you guys think? Be sure to comment down below. Hi guys, so this is the post-editing Switch to Life, and I just thought about it and I realized that Claire probably would just use her shadow portal to get to the other side, but also she would save as many people as possible. And using her shadow magic to do that, yeah, that's probably gonna be what disqualifies her. So Claire doesn't actually make it. We just have the 6 survivors. Oh, and there's one more thing that we need to talk about. That, of course, being the identity of the Game Master. And, well, this is a mystery that I've been leaving hints to for the past 5 videos, and nobody has gotten it. So, I'm going to give you one final hint. And this is probably the thing that's going to make you go, oh, no wonder I never got it. He is a character from the Bad Guys book series. Combine that with all of the details from my other videos, and you'll be able to figure it out. And with all that in mind, thank you so much for watching this video. And of course, we will be doing a part 7, which will discuss the final Squid game. Now, I'm not really certain when I'm going to upload this, but I can promise you, I will meet this deadline. The final Dreamworks Squid Game video of this season, I guess, will be released before season 3 of the actual Squid Game premieres on Netflix later this June. So be sure to subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss that upload. And of course, if you really want to help support the channel, be sure to join my membership program. But above all else, make sure that you're staying safe out there, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye-bye.
Oh, you smarty pants! Let's see you get out in this one! This time you're a diamond!
I know this defies the law of gravity, but, you see, I never studied law.